Hello everybody, Andy here from Glass Half Dead. Normally a Kill Team channel, but today talking a little bit about Starcraft tabletop miniatures game. In case you don't know, a while ago now, that's not the one. I did a video which a couple of people watched where I was very excited about Starcraft miniatures game, and I thought, oh, let's talk about that there. And I broke down everything we knew at the time, which in fairness was just the company that's putting it out did like a 2 hour long bod, and I was like, I just broke down. Let me cut that up. Still at 45 minutes, so my gosh, but I do ramble. And I thought, while I've still hyped for it, let's talk about this, which is the first miniature that they have released for the game. It's done as a bit of a promo, so you cannot buy this apart from when Archon Studio, the people that are making this, are at a convention. So 2, 3 weeks ago, they were at Essen Spiel, which is a massive board game convention in Germany. And I wasn't there, but I ordered it online. They shipped it to me at exorbitant costs for the shipping. Let's be clear. I feel even worse for my Americans out there. My gosh, that is one hell of a price. Hopefully, Archon Studio will be going to America soon, and you can pick it up then. And I did no research into what you get in the box. It turns out you get two miniatures, uh, one and a half, which I'll talk about in a moment. So I wanted to talk about the first model for it, and then I'll also very quickly go over kind of what we know now based on stuff. So we still don't, I think, know when the box is releasing. Oh, should I go over? Hold on, let me actually go over things. We'll look at the models in a moment, and I'll do a little bit of an unbox and obviously show you the finished product and talk about, is this a GW quality model? Obviously, I've got this here for size comparison, just so you can see these are on a 40, that's on a 32, obviously, but so you get the rough idea of scales that they're going for there. So let's have a quick look here. Oh, firstly, obviously, hey, if you're a subscriber to my channel, I'd like to give you a big subscriber-only benefit, and that is a gigantic double hello. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Do consider checking out Element Games, Winning Games, Red October Games in the UK, or Game Portal in America. Cost you nothing extra. Gives me a little kickback. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much. So, since I last spoke about it, we've had a few working shots of what we might be getting. These are, they said, 3D prototypes. However, basically, this is what we expect to get in the starter box. So what we see here are, can I zoom in much for you guys? Not really, but we go with that. Sure. So as we can see, we're getting some Marines, we're getting some Zerglings, we're getting some, are they Burrowers? Is that what they're called? We get some Medics, and we get, I don't even know what that one is actually. And we get some terrain. Now, very importantly, what are we saying these are? I've got no clue. It looks like some Zerg infested. No, I don't know. Until I see closer up pictures of this terrain, I'm not quite sure what it is. I assume that these here are actually spawn markers for Zerg, or maybe they're not. I don't really know. There you go. The amount of detail out there isn't super like granular at the moment. It's all a bit wishy-washy. We know that this is the core box, though. So this, whatever the starter box is, this is what you get in it. So you do get terrain. You get 2 armies, which we'll talk about in a moment. And so you will have everything you need to play from a single box, which is really cool. Oh, and of course, as we can see over there, data cards. Cool. So it's not like all digital. You have to have an app. You will get the data cards. Nice. I suppose the only thing that needs to be said about this is, oh, and tokens, obviously, is I suppose the big question when it comes to Star Wars, Starcraft, the miniature game is there base building, right? Because obviously we're thinking about, oh, they're taking Starcraft, they're putting it on the table. What do we get? You are not playing Starcraft on the table. You're playing an abstracted version in the same world. There you go. In reality, although these will share similar things because they're based on the same core concept of what is a Zergling, and so it will, in some way that is relevant to its own medium that it's playing, you're going to have a Zergling, but you're not building bases, and therefore, as soon as you've removed base building from StarCraft, it's not really StarCraft, is it? Like, that's not a negative. I don't think necessarily that's what they should have been doing. It would have been cool if they did, but then if you did that, you probably couldn't have it at this scale. And as we've seen from these models here, the scale is basically Warhammer, which, let's be honest, is the correct choice. It should be Warhammer because that's how you make money in today's modern age. At Essen Spiel, they also had fully painted models as well. This was the best picture I could find, which is terrible quality. So I apologize for that. But as you see, they painted them up. As a colorblind person, is this actually the default scheme for Zerg? Because I don't like it at all. But that's probably just because I can't tell what it is, if I'm honest. So that's probably I'm beautifully painted, but just the color scheme is like, oh no, no, thank you. I will of course be doing my Tyranid scheme, aka the War Machine Legions of Everblight scheme, because that's much cooler. Let's very quickly have a look at the model that I painted in pictures instead of me holding it up for you. This, yeah, here we go. So this here is the model as painted. There you go. This blade here, which we're going to talk about in a moment, don't worry, a little bit more in depth, is a clear see-through piece of plastic. I then colored it because when it comes just as a clear piece of plastic, I didn't feel like it felt like it stood out a bit from the rest of the model. To be clear, it's not like a piece of acrylic like GW does, so you have to super glue it. It is plastic that can be glued together with just some plastic glue. So it can just be done and sprayed over like any other part of the model. That's fine if you don't want to mess around with clear plastic. But I did, so I put it on, and then I was like, "Ooh, actually, I want to give it a little bit of an effect." By the time I was done, it just looked like a piece of like I've just used a normal piece of plastic. So there you go. Out of interest, I then wanted to see what this same model looked like if I colored it or sprayed it with a matte varnish, which does this to it, which does indeed wash it out. But this is purely for my own interest because I don't know if I'm going to main Protoss or if I really care that much. But with the purple on this cape, it rubs off so quickly that I felt like this was a good model, and that's how you're going to pick this model up, by that cape. Um, I thought, you know what? Let's just go ahead and varnish it, and it's completely washed it out, which I don't care about, to be clear. It's fine, it still works. It's all good, but it goes from this to this, from this to this. Now, I do hear that you can get better spray-on primers, matte varnishes, sorry, but I don't care. There you go. This was a Colorforge matte varnish. Did exactly what it said on the tin. I'm happy with it. Has it washed it out? Yes. Do I care? No. Apparently, brush-on primer is less likely to do that for you. Works for me. I then took another angle, just so you can see another angle. There you go. I didn't really know what colors to make Zeratul, and I actually have I'm, again, colorblind. I have no clue what color skin Protoss are. So I went with Griff Charger Grey because I figured that's a slightly blue grey. I probably should have gone Space Wolves Grey, or actually just used a blue, if I'm honest. But then, if you look at my my boy on the bottom here, my Zerg, whatever he is, a Hydralisk, I want them to have blue skin, like that Tyrant blue, because that's the Legion of Everblight from War Machine color scheme, and I can't have them both be that color because really I want my Protoss to be that color. I kind of messed up there. Let's not think about it. It's fine. Cool, nice. And then we have the second thing that comes in the box. So let me quickly swap back to well, I'll show them here. So here you go. So this is the model made purely of clear plastic. As you can tell, I colored then I put a Tyran blue wash over the entire thing to give the stealth effect, because blue is stealth, I guess. And then on all of their little bits in their eyes and stuff, I just did a yellow Imperial Fist yellow, just to give it something. There you go. And you might be noticing that it stood on two rods of clear plastic. And why have I done that? Let's talk about it. Right, we've seen all the pictures. Let's go back to this bad boy here. So the live feed, if you will. I'll quickly show you the model here. Oh, shall I critique the model? So, in case you have never worked with Archon Studios plastic before, it is just GW plastic. There you go. It acts in exactly the same way, and it has. If I had to be super, super critical, perhaps you could say that it doesn't have quite as much crispness or like sharpness of detail as GW plastic, but it is so close that as soon as you've put a spray primer on it, you wouldn't notice. To the point that it's just the same. There you go. Unless you are an absolute top tier god of a painter that truly needs the finest plastic and really you should be doing metal or resin, this is as good as GW. I've used Archon plastics in the past from Mantic, um, but this is their stuff, and it's very cool. It works. It's a nice pose. I like it. There you go. Not much more to say. It's a 40 mil base, and although this miniature, like Zeratul, doesn't super spark joy for me, but he looks cool. He works for me. I really struggle with the colors, but that's because I'm colorblind and I don't know what color Protoss are. There you go. This here is a piece of the see-through plastic just on the sprue. It comes in just a sprue of see-through plastic, just like your GW grey plastic will be, but this can be seen through. There you go. And then comes like this. And that's it. Again, just given a wash so that you can actually see it. I originally was going to show you guys this model made just completely with the see-through, but you can't see anything. Or you can, but because of the way cameras and eyes work, there's just nothing for your face for your eyes to really see. So you need some sort of depth and shade in there. So I did this. Now, if I was doing a whole army, I probably wouldn't do this. I'd leave them as just see-through guys because it's a really cool novelty thing that you can do. But for the camera, I did this. Now we obviously then have. Oh, I suppose. And hey, look at the size difference. There you go. So if Zeratul wasn't in a crazy jumping pose, it looks like he would still be a little bit taller than the Space Marine, depending on the stance he takes with those legs, and because they're these weirdly disjointed goat legs or whatever. But it seems like they're roughly the same size. It looks like, if I had to guess, I suspect that Starcraft Marines are going to be ever so slightly chunkier than Space Marines, but probably very similar in reality. So if you are just thinking, can I proxy my Starcraft Marines as Space Marines? Almost certainly the answer is yes. There you go. I would be shocked if Archon hasn't deliberately made them the same scale so that you can easily do that. I suspect Zeratul's on a 40, and Marines are going to be on 32s. Just guessing. Seems very likely. There you go. I now have to talk about the negative to the Zeratul Mini specifically. So let's move these off. I think it's going to be very clear what the negative is. Here's the box. Oh, just absolute random one. You know how things go through fashion, like of marketing and boxing and stuff. Things go through fashions. At the moment, GW does their boxes in a satin, kind of like almost glossy satin. This is pure matte with a spot gloss along certain features, as you can see as I move it around to catch the light. I actually prefer this. I think at the moment, the matte gives it a really nice kind of premium feel, which is really cool. With that said, oh, look at this. That's base is 50. Nah, that's a 40 mil. Why does it say base is 50? I know my base size. That is a 40 mil base that I have this model on, not a 50. That's actually very confusing. I only just saw that. I'm not going to think about that too much, but this is 100% a 40 mil base. As you can tell, I put it there. You know this is a 32 mil base. That is next to a 40, 100%. 100%. I am going to go and check that to make sure when I say 100%, I actually mean 100%. Check the pinned comment along with my affiliate links. It will also have a note if I'm wrong and this is actually a 50 mil base and I got it all right. all wrong. There you go. So, why is this guy on a super cool thematic base, and this guy is on 2 sticks that I cut off from his sprue? Because it only comes with 1 base. Now, at f I hi so this is so as this is literally my only critique of this well, apart from the shipping price, obviously, but clearly I bit the bullet on that one. As this is my only critique, I'm gonna go in a bit because I genuinely I have no issues with the quality of this. I have no issues with the price. I paid it. My bad. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't have paid it. There you go. Tough tits me. So this is my only criticism here. Apart from this thing I'm about to say, everything else about this has me excited for the Starcraft miniatures game. Now, I am not a Starcraft head. I am not truly a Starcraft lover. I played the games when they released. I played Starcraft 1, Brood War, and then all 3 of the Starcraft 2s. Single player campaign, that was it. I've never played a game in multiplayer. If this was the Warcraft miniatures game, I would be starting a second channel that would just be the Warcraft miniatures game channel. Okay, that's how into that I would be. I'm a Warcraft head, not a Starcraft head. So I have no true nostalgia for this, apart from the fact that obviously I played it when I liked Warcraft, and it was made by the same company. And yeah, I played the games. Right. Anyway, so I am excited for the Starcraft game, and this is only bolstering that excitement. So, but the single issue being the fact there's only 1 base. Now, from what we can assume from the game, when when you are playing the game, you will have your Zeratul Mini on there, and he's your guy, and there you go. And you can only have 1 because he's a named character, obviously. That seems very easy to assume that we're only going to be able to run 1 of any named character. Cool. So you put him on there. Nice. Good. Presumably, he's going to have an ability where he can go stealth. And you can, if you want, drop this guy on there. Cool. That's a fun little theme thing you can do. So, from that perspective, I understand that the base wouldn't go stealth, would it? You'd put this down, and you don't want the base to be stealth. You want the base to be painted because Zeratul is stealthing, not the ground he's on. Cool. So that's the design meeting they've had. So we don't need 2 bases because the base can't stealth. So we don't need to give them 2 bases in the box. Fine, cool. However, at some point, I truly feel like they must have gotten to a point, and the thing is, with this model, both like the sprues that they come on are 2 different sprues. It must have cost them more to make 2 different sprues than the extra half a plun. That's PLN, that's the Polish zloty, to be clear. Half a plun of extra plastic that it would have cost. They must have spent so much money on a whole other sprue for the clear plastic than they would have if they'd just given us 2 identicals where you can print out 1 of the grey plastic and 1 of the see-through plastic. And so I'm just so confused how this happened. Now, I understand that they're only selling you 1 model, so there's no false advertising here. Let's be clear on that. You buy 1 model, which is the Zeratul, and as you see right here, clear plastic parts included. So I could have swapped any part of this model with clear plastic. If I wanted to do, let's say, just the psionic blade with the cloaks fading into clear plastic as like part of the effect, that would look awesome. I fully respect that. I'm not saying they've lied here or anything like that. I'm just saying if they'd just given me a second base, which I think would have been cheaper for them, it would have made so much more sense. And it's not losing the money because it's not like it's not like this is a standard marine and they only want to sell you 1 marine in the box, but accidentally give you 2 and therefore cut their profits literally in half, right? No, it's a single model. So they sell you 1 Zeratul and a second Zeratul, but I only ever need 1. So I'm never going to buy this box again. That's why it's a promo miniature. Why not just give me a second base? And then it's of clear plastic, but I can just color it in like I had to do with this. Super, super strange decision. Affects nothing, but I did feel it had to be raised, and I realize I've gone on for long enough about it. Somehow, once I decide what I'm basing these guys on, I will obviously cover up these sticks with just a rock. Fine, it will look okay. He will be jumping off rocks without a cool Zerg head. It's fine. All right. Okay, anyway, that's all I had to say, to be honest. I liked these. It's got me excited for the miniatures game. I know that Archon Studio is releasing a Trench Crusade, like plastic kit, which I've pre-ordered from Element Games. So I will maybe do an unboxing of that. Let me know if you're interested in seeing it. And if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Again, do consider checking out Element Wayland or Red October Games in the UK and Wargame Portal in the US. As I mentioned, I've bought pre-ordered the Trench Crusade Prussian set that Archon Studio is doing from Element Games there. Consider checking that out. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you in the next Kill Team video. Have a good one. Bye.